More than 110,000 businesses have rushed to register for the government's historic JobKeeper allowance, worth that record $130 billion. The unprecedented package throws an economic lifeline to 6 million workers potentially at risk of losing their job, or some who have already lost it as a result of COVID-19. Live to political reporter Eliza Edwards. Eliza, massive reaction to the announcement.
Tom, pretty incredible figures. As of 8 o'clock this morning, 1,100,000 businesses had registered with the ATO to receive these new wage subsidies. The JobKeeper allowance of $1,500 a fortnight for businesses to keep their workers on the payroll for 6 months. The Treasurer concedes this $130 billion economic package will take many years to pay off, but he says the benefits will far outweigh the cost, and that will be keeping Australians employed and preventing that unemployment rate from skyrocketing.
I think it will save thousands of businesses and, more importantly, millions of employees. $130 billion over the next 6 months. Australia's never seen income support like this, and that reflects the unprecedented nature of the times that we're in. I mean, Australia is fighting a war on two fronts, a health crisis and an economic crisis simultaneously. But Australians know that their government has their back.
Tom, another announcement that was somewhat lost in the big figures yesterday was the decision to raise the partner income threshold from $48,000 to just under $80,000, so making it easier for more couples to access Centrelink income support. And that was pushed for by Labor and has been welcomed by frontbencher Jason Clare.
This really is a war. It's a world war. It's going to affect every country, infect every country. We've got to make sure that we get the big calls right here to help Australians. Where the government gets those calls right, we've got to back them. Where they get it almost right, but there's a few extra things to do. I think it's the job of the opposition to say we can tweak this and improve it. That's why we argued for that partner payment change.
So that huge program being rolled out, Eliza. Meanwhile, more calls on the government for money. Virgin seeking a $1.4 billion bailout. We know Qantas wasn't keen for this to happen. What's been the rest of the response so far?
Well, Virgin says it doesn't need this economic bailout straight away, but if this coronavirus crisis continues past 6 months, that government intervention would be necessary. So it's written to the government asking for this $1.4 billion rescue package with the understanding that the government would take part ownership of the company if they can't pay that loan back within 3 years. Now, the government is in negotiations with Virgin, but the Treasurer not confirming if any agreement has been struck.
I don't want to comment on the specifics of approaches to government, as you would expect that they are commercial in confidence. But what I do say is that we support strongly the aviation sector, and that's been reflected in our earlier announcements.
Tom, Virgin's already been forced to stand down 80% of its workforce and cut 90% of domestic flights due to the COVID-19 crisis. It fears it could go under without government intervention if this crisis goes beyond 6 months.